Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. It's been a long time. Hope you're all doing well. Thank you very much for the channel growth that has happened since the last video. I very much appreciate it. Today we are doing the ultimate endo farming guide. So we have rates of about 3,500 per minute, just like as an average. Maybe even more. So yeah, cool. Let's get into it. Okay, also I have like some video ideas in a series that I want to do. And I'll put that at the end of the video with a timestamp, obviously. Just give me some feedback in the comments if you want to see it. Obviously, if people literally hate the idea, I can just not do it. But yeah, let me know. And let's go. So, where can we find squads for this farm? There's no point doing a video on it if there's nobody to farm it with. So in the description, I'm going to give a link to the Endo Farming Discord server. This server is honestly a great place. It's very active with farms. The players and experienced farmers are really helpful. They help me put together this guide and help me record the footage, so shout out to all of those guys. Also, they've proof watched this video to make sure it is accurate, so please join the server. Make sure if you're going to run in the server you have the builds made correctly, because it wouldn't be very fun if people joined and had no idea what was going on. But yeah, it's a fantastic tool. Please check it out in the description, and yeah, let's get on with it. So of course, if you find yourself enjoying this one, remember, like, sub, comment, share, let me get them views, let me get that ad revenue, you know how it is. And yeah, let's go. Okay, so the first thing is what map are we doing? And of course, we're doing the arena on Sedna. The arena drops endo from enemies killed, and so we can actually affect how much endo is dropped. So to increase our chances, we're first going to swap over to Steel Path. As you can see, this has a 100% mod drop chance, and of course, endo counts as a mod. So we switch to Steel Path, and we're going to be doing Yam. Now the reason we do Yam is because it has the same drop rates as Vodyanoi. However, the modifiers are actually a lot easier to deal with and the enemy level is less, so it just makes it an all-round easier experience. Now the second way to increase our drop chance is having a mod drop chance booster. Now you can't actually buy these for platinum, they are brought by Barokatia, or they drop from things like the Sortie. As you can see, you can get a 3-day booster, or from the Archon hunt, which again you get a 3-day booster. And obviously, depending on which one you get, you might get a mod drop chance. The mod drop chance is really, really important as you get just so much more endo from it. Okay, so let's move on and take a look at the roles and builds. Okay, so there's 3 different roles in the endo farm. We have a Khora, a Nekros, and a Nidus, and we're going to start with Khora. Khora is definitely the most simple. It requires the least amount of items and builds, and it has a very simple role in the actual farm. Okay, so Khora has 2 main purposes for the endo farm. First of all, her Strangle Dome here, paired with the Augment, increases enemy drop chances, which of course is what we want. Secondly, we are using Dispensary, and Dispensary gives health orbs and energy orbs, and of course when paired with Equilibrium, we will have infinite energy through the whole fight. And then finally, Vazarin. We're going to be using Vazarin's Protective Sling here to basically keep everybody on the team alive. So taking a look at the Khora build, we're running Still Charge and Coaction Drift, and this will be the same for pretty much every frame in the farm. It allows our Nekros players, which is our DPS, to do tons more melee damage, and of course faster kills means a faster run, which means of course faster farming. Now most of this build is actually just duration, and the reason for that is we don't need range at all. We're putting the dome in a very small area, and we have a Nidus to pull all the enemies into a very small area. This range is just enough to grab the enemies, which allows us to increase their drop chance, but not big enough so that they get stuck behind walls and in weird positions. And the max duration is of course just for quality of life, so we don't have to return to our frame at all, and we can continue to use Vazarin's Protective Dash. For Arcanes, only Molt efficiency is really desired, but I wouldn't even say this is necessary, it's just more quality of life. So secondly, we're using the Glaxion Vandal here. Now, with the Glaxion Vandal, this is 0 Forma, and all you really need is Mending Shots and Prime Firestorm. This setup is to allow us to get energy immediately off the start. We can shoot a health orb with this weapon, and combining that with Equilibrium, it allows us to fill our energy instantly. This isn't needed, as we can actually just use Khora's companion with the fetch mod to pick up a health orb. However, this is a nice little bit of speed which you'll be able to see later. And then finally we're using the Praetos. We don't actually use these weapons, we're only using them for the parkour velocity evolution right here. So the rest of this you can completely ignore pretty much. I took sprint speed and slide, and I took parkour velocity. You don't need these weapons, but to have a faster start of the farm, again, that increases efficiency and makes the farm in general just more pleasant to play. And then finally we have Venari. Now, Venari is literally just used for fetch. Primed Animal Instinct gives you enemy radar, and the rest of this is just to stop it from dying, pretty much. Okay, so with Vazarin, the most important part for Khora is actually the Operator Arcane. So because of Protective Sling, we want to make sure we have a very consistent protection on our whole team. And to do that, we're using an Arcane called Magus Cloud. So Magus Cloud increases our Void Sling radius by like a lot. And it can be bought from Quill Onco for just a bit of standing. And this Arcane is needed to play Khora. You shouldn't play Khora without this. But that's literally it for Khora. And let's go take a look at how you actually play Khora in an Endo farm. So I'm going to start a demo run and do it slowly in single player, and then I'm going to play an actual run that I did. My first ever attempt at an Endo farm. So to start, we're going to be holding in this location here by that door. So whenever we start the farms, we're going to be approaching that destination. So the first thing we're going to do is bullet jump towards the farm and shoot that health orb with our Glaxian Vandal. So when I shoot it, as you can see, my energy gets filled up. I can then land right here, place a dome, place a dispensary, stand in this corner, and look at this pipe. We're then going to hold S to run into the wall and D together to run into the wall, and you can just double tap space to protect your teammates. So in this corner, hold S and D and Protective Sling, Protective Sling, Protective Sling. And this will all make sense when we show you the run, but our Nekros players are going to be standing here, and our Nidus is going to be standing here. So this Protective Sling will protect everybody. Looking in this direction causes enemies to spawn here, and that allows our Nidus to pull them straight into the doorway, into the dome, and we can kill them efficiently. Of course, that will make more sense when you see an actual run, so let's show that now. Okay, so on screen right now you can see the final screen. You can see how much Endo we farmed and how long it took. This was my first ever Endo run, and we got 3,900 Endo in 1 minute 5 seconds. Pretty efficient farm. So yeah, cool. Okay, so the next role we're going to take a look at is Nekros. Now, Nekros is the most simple to play. In the farm, there's always going to be 2 Nekros players because double DPS is better than single, and more desecrate chances, of course. So now let's take a look at what Nekros does. Basically, you sit in a corner and you spam the melee key. But Nekros does require a little more gear in the fact that you need Guandao Prime, or the Orthos Prime as an alternative, and you need a couple of Arcanes. So let's have a look at the build. So this build, again, we're running Steel Charge and Coaction Drift, same as always. We have the Despoil Augment, so that it doesn't drain our energy, instead it drains health. We have a touch of range, so that we can desecrate enemies from far away. Natural Talent is just a bit of quality of life. Now we have Mag's Greedy Pull Augment here, and the reason for that is In the arena, we cannot take companions. That means we can't use fetch, we can't use vacuum, anything like that. And of course, that means you might end up missing some endo drops. So we take Mag's Greedy Pull just as a way to collect all the endo quickly and efficiently at the end. And then finally, we have Gladiator mods. Now, the Gladiator set gives us a bonus of 40% crit chance per combo multiplier. Now, during the farm, we are going to have 12 times combo because we're literally decimating everything. So this gives us pretty consistent red crits. And of course, that means extra damage. Now, for the Arcanes, we're running Attack Speed, Arcane Strike, and Arcane Fury. If you're a little bit newer or you just don't have Arcanes, Arcane Strike is not necessary. It's very nice to have and it does increase your DPS, but it's not necessary. Arcane Fury, however, I would suggest having at least rank 3, purely just because your damage might struggle without it. But do aim to get rank 5, of course, because that's the best DPS possible. Okay, so for the weapon setup we have Aphentis. This is not needed. However, it does provide a really nice fire rate buff here, which again counts as attack speed. So if you throw it into the hold spot when you start, you can get some nice buffs going. It's not necessary, however. The build we have on it is quite literally just like an attack speed buff, really, to throw the thing faster. And then the run speed from Amalgam Serration, but it's not necessary. But the thing that is needed is Guandao Prime or the Orthos Prime. Now, I don't have Orthos Prime, so I can't show that off, but Guandao Prime is the better version anyway. And let's take a look at the build. So the build is quite self-explanatory. We have Shimmering Blight here because this allows us to stand still and do rapid swings. Having a combo stance that allows us to not move during the combo at all is quite important, as we're looking in a particular direction to cause enemy spawns. And then we have Prime Grenier because the enemies from the arena are Grenier. And then the rest of this is, of course, just damage. We're running Radiation because Radiation gives us more raw damage against the enemies. And that's literally it. Okay, so some people might ask why specifically Guandao and maybe not weapons such as the Ripkas for the Amalgam mod with the 100% gore chance. So the reason for that, Guandao actually has a slash rating of over 50%. So you see 100, that's 120, and that's 300, so it's over 50% slash. And what that means is enemies will be dismembered when we kill them, and also corpses on the ground can be dismembered, so we can split them into multiple body parts. Now, Nekros, his Desecrate works on body parts, not just a solid corpse. So when we dismember an enemy, and we split it into 2, Nekros has a chance to dismember both of those parts, and then if we split that into 2, again, we can dismember them. Now, Nekros can desecrate a maximum of 2 body parts per corpse. However, if we split the body part into 5 different pieces, the chance that he will desecrate 2 of those pieces is higher than just 2 pieces. So we use the Guandao to split the enemy initially, and then split their corpse, and then again repeatedly do that. Now the Ripkas will dismember enemies on kill, and it can dismember corpses. However, it has a very slow attack speed in comparison to Guandao. It has less damage, it has less range, everything about it is worse, and the mod is not necessary at all because we're not actually dismembering with anything else other than the melee weapon. So there's no need to really run the Ripkas at all. And it's the same as the Orthos Prime. The Orthos Prime has a over 50% slash rating, and that allows us to dismember corpses. So hopefully that clears that up. So with Nekros, we're running Madurai, and you can either run Madurai or Naramon for opening slam here. As you can see, performing a slam switches to Warframe and grants double combo. Double combo means faster damage build up, and that's why you might want to run Naramon. Over Madurai, we have Void Strike, and that deals 1000% extra damage. So now let's take a look at the procedure of Nekros, and I'll show you a full run. So as Nekros, when we load in, we're going to bullet jump towards the hold spot, use our third ability while aim gliding, and throw the Aphentis. Very simple. So we bullet jump, throw the Aphentis, we cast Void Strike, sit right here, and melee the enemies. And that's all there is to it. Now, once done, I'm going to protect myself really quick. Once done, we sit in this corner, face this pipe, and spam melee. And the enemies will be pulled into this area, and you just kill them. Simple as that. So now let's take a look at how that works in a proper run. So now the final role is going to be Nidus. Now Nidus, in my opinion, is the hardest to learn because it has a little bit of complicated things going on, but it's not too bad once you get the hang of it. So the mods we're running is enemy radar and enemy sense. This allows us to see enemy spawns and locations on the map, and that way we can check for any enemies getting stuck behind walls or in weird spawn points that they shouldn't be. If you know the enemy is stuck, that way our DPS can go and kill it, and of course that increases the farm's efficiency. So this build is designed to have as little duration as possible, and the reason for that, lava cannot be recast while it's already active. So we want lava to pull all the enemies and then explode instantly so we can cast it again and again and again. So we're running Transient Fortitude for negative duration, we have Fleeting Expertise for negative duration, and then of course max range. So we can pull enemies from all the way across the arena. Equilibrium is again the same thing. We pick up a health orb, we gain energy. We have Mag's Greedy Pull to basically act as fetch, same as the Nekros. And then just efficiency, so we're not burning all of our energy completely. Now, Arcane Energize, you don't need Arcane Energize, it's not needed at all, it's just a bit of quality of life. You should be able to maintain energy without Energize, but I put it on anyway because I have it. So Arcane Blessing, this one you do need, and you only need a rank 0. So what's happening here? We pick up a health orb, and it increases our max health. When our max health increases, we pick up another health orb, and it increases our max health. And you see where this is going. So the more health we pick up, the more energy we gain through Equilibrium. That way we never run out of energy. So the weapon choice for Nidus is again Galaxian Vandal, and we're using the Galaxian Vandal as a viral primer this time. So we have range, we have Prime Firestorm for the AoE, we have Rifle Aptitude for the status chance, fire rate, multi-shot, and then again Mending Shot. So we're going to be shooting another health orb the same way we did with Khora, and that will fill out energy right at the start of the round. And then we're using Fractalized Reset for the reload speed. Because we're going to be spamming our second ability, we should always have this buff active. The melee we're using is again the Praedos for the parkour velocity. It's not necessary to have these, however extra parkour velocity and sprint speed makes the runs faster. And then finally we're using Zenuric. Now the focus school is not actually necessary unless you don't have Mending Shot, but Mending Shot is much more efficient to use. So we're using Zenuric purely because of Wellspring and the energy it gives you. If you don't have Mending Shot, you can use this right at the start of the round to increase your energy. Okay, so the run procedure is Nidus. We're going to use lava on a back pillar to pull the far spawns in close, fill our energy with a orb, and then pull them into Khora's dome. So this back pillar here, we're going to cast lava here, like so. Then we bullet jump forwards, shoot that orb right there, and that should fill our energy on the way, like so. We then land here, and we're then going to cast lava right here, while holding down left click to prime the enemies. Now, when you're casting lava, make sure you stand around this area here, because when we stay this far to the right, we can see into this room, and that prevents enemies from spawning here. And that allows us to have more spawns in this direction, which will get pulled immediately by lava. So I'm going to try and do this without getting immediately one shot. So you go lava, and I'm dead. But yeah, that's the strategy. So a quick side piece about Archon Shards. Archon Shards are quality of life. They're not necessary, but they are very, very, very useful. So on Nidus, you want casting speed and parkour velocity. Those two are useful, as well as maybe the blue for armor. For Khora, you would want casting speed, parkour velocity. Either of those two work. And for Nekros, you would want melee critical damage and parkour velocity. Same as usual. Cool. So, that's all the roles for the farm. It's pretty simple. It's a very, very simple farm. However, it's very, very efficient. And of course, if you found this one useful, remember, like, sub, comment, share, get me the ad revenue. You know how it is. Okay, so I want to just mention the video idea real quick. I've had a thought about starting a series where I start basically on a completely fresh account, and I play through the game all the way up until end game, steel path, speed runs, and whatever else. And I thought it would be pretty interesting just to try and like get a new account to end game. Obviously, my channel is mostly end game, so starting a fresh account might be something people don't want to see. Or maybe you do want to see it. I don't know. I thought I'd just ask because obviously this channel was inactive for like 2 months because I had no idea what to upload. Also, I was busy. Then I was on holiday. Then I was sick. So I'm still ill now. If you can hear that. But yeah, if you like the idea, let me know. Cool. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace.